What you are about to experience is what is called the Pecha Kucha Hour, but in a condensed format to fit the 45-minute presentation constraints this year. With this format, you'll get to hear 4 different presentations, and then we'll have a question and answer session where each presenter will be at different parts of the room to answer your questions. So please hold all of your questions until all presenters have finished. Actually, the first presentation has already started, and I have only a little over 6 minutes left to finish my presentation on Pecha Kucha. So to start off, let me explain the Pecha Kucha presentation format. A group of presenters gets together and shares their thoughts, artwork, and architectural designs. So you may ask, how is this different than any other group of presentations? The difference comes in the guidelines set for the presentations to ensure brevity and increase the number of presenters during a gathering. Hold on, let me back up even further. Pecha Kucha Night was started by 2 architects who were working in Japan in 2003, Mark Ditham and Astrid Klein. They owned a performance space that was struggling, and they decided to use it to give architects an opportunity to showcase their work. But they wanted it to be structured so that no one would be able to monopolize all the time. So Pecha Kucha, which is chatter in Japanese, got its start. Here are the guidelines. 20 slides, 20 seconds each, then sit down. That's it. You have 6 minutes and 40 seconds to present, and then in the words of Daniel Pink, you sit the hell down. By using these guidelines, it forces presenters to plan out exactly what they want to say, practice, and create slides that have only essential information. In other words, their slides end up being only a few words or just images to reinforce the presenter's message, not the typical visual crutch of exactly what I need to say, so that so many presenters rely on, and many of us are guilty of at one time or another. You might be asking, so what does this have to do with education? Didn't your presentation abstract say that I could get a month's worth of professional development in an hour? Well, at San Juan College, we've adapted the format to fit an educational focus, and here's how. We have an event once a month where 3 presenters are showcased. Each gives their presentation, and then the remaining time left of the hour is open to a Q&A session with the presenters so that participants have an opportunity to get more information on the presentation or presentations that interest them the most. You may ask, why 3? Because we found is that we could continue the number 20 motif. 3 presentations totals exactly 20 minutes, which gives roughly 40 minutes for questions, introductions, and wrapping up the event. The response so far has been excellent. We'll be having our 4th Pecha Kucha Hour in a week, and so far all of them have been well attended. With this idea coming out of an education and technology focused group, you would think that all of the presentations would be technology and educational focused. You couldn't be more wrong. The first one was, but that was because we had 3 people in our office, and for introducing the event to the college it was just easier to get all of the presenters we needed from our group. And for your treat, those same 3 presenters will be presenting today. Every other Pecha Kucha Hour had presentations that cover topics like Italian, biology, fly fishing, and coming up this month we'll have a presentation on photography and another on logic. And I think this is why we always have a good turnout. There is at least one presentation that each person wants to hear. We don't expect everyone there to want to hear all 3, but we know at least one presentation interests them. We know because they are there that they will endure them all because it is only 6 minutes and 40 seconds for each one. Once all 3 are over, they get 40 minutes with the presenter they came to hear. And they get a more one-on-one time with the presenter because the Q&A groups are smaller, with around a third or so of the entire group of participants in each group. The future potential for this presentation structure is huge. All of us have had to sit through an hour presentation and wish we hadn't. We've all been to a presentation where the presenter could have sent us the slides and we could have gotten just as much out of it. Or been to a conference and there are 2 or more presentations during a session that were interesting, but you can only attend one, unless of course you've figured out time travel to your benefit. What if the entire conference was structured to have an entire track or session, all 6 presentations in a block format, where you heard the Pecha Kucha version of each one, and then had time to ask questions of the presenter after the presentations, and then had a break, and then another session of 6 presentations. It's like combining a panel presentation with a regular session, but no one presenter on the panel gets an opportunity to hog any of the time. We could go to all the presentations at a normal 2-day conference and do it all in one day. Let me give an example. Right now there are 6 different presentations being conducted in different rooms around the hotel. If you were using the Pecha Kucha format, you could listen to all 6 in the time it would take one normal presentation, 40 minutes. Why not do it this way? You could reduce the time of the conference by a 1/6. have more time to interact with the presenters, you could allow for more presenters at the conference, and eliminate the need for presentation hopping. How? With all the presentations in a session being done in one room, if a presentation isn't what you expected, well, hold on. The next one will be starting in less than 7 minutes, the amount of time it would take you to get to the other room. How about another example? Let's say you're an instructor and you're going to have students do a presentation. Pecha Kucha is an ideal way to structure student presentations by instating a strict limit to their presentation and then a time to answer questions from both the instructor and other students. Now you'll know they understand the material because there's much more structured time for questions. You won't be rushed to get more presentations done and don't have to take several weeks to get all the presentations finished. Last example. What if you modified your lectures to fit this model? In a 55-minute class session, you could present on 3 topics, and then have the rest of the class for Q&A, discussion, or another class activity, forcing us as instructors to present only the key information for each topic. If students struggle, record the presentations like we're doing today, and make them podcasts. Believe me, if they're this short, the students will listen to them more than once. If me talking about this style of presentation doesn't convince you it's a good idea, then the demonstration surely will. Let me introduce you to your Pecha Kucha presenters today. You'll hear from Marty Hill on minimizing teaching to maximize learning, David Penrose on micro-learning and participation, and Kurt Rogers on learning in 3D. Without further ado, Marty.